Hey guys, the Autobro here. Today I'm going to be playing some Space Engineers. I'm going to try and spawn on the Earth-like planet, and we'll kind of show you how to get started. So one thing, starting off here is if you want to look in your inventory, just press I. Um, this is in your seat, so you can go ahead and grab this. This is important, especially if, like, say you're playing your own server and you have wolves or spiders enabled. This is very useful right away, so you can grab those. The GPS here, it actually has a station on it, so if you right click on it, it'll say whatever it says here, and then it actually gives you a station. Which, the nice part about a station is once you find one, you can find others. So it's a good starting point. All you got to do is just create a GPS marker. So there's that. I'll kind of guide you through the rest of the ship while I'm here. So if you go through here, you have control panel, production, info, faction, comms, and GPS. Let's go all the way to GPS since we just made that marker. If we notice that this is actually not on our HUD yet anyways, to enable that, we'll press this show on HUD. And that will give you your station that you just put down on your pad. So going back to the control panel, if we look at our things here, you will actually not see a whole lot of things here. In fact, you'll have lights outside and inside the ship, but it isn't here. To show it though, you gotta press this little eyeball here, and it just shows the hidden blocks that have been hidden. So here's your atmospheric thrusters. I'll enable those just a little bit later. I'm gonna try to save the ship during this whole process. Here's all your lighting. I'm actually going to disable that. Nice part about disabling these lights is it saves on the battery. So that's all that. Okay, and just to exit, just press F and you'll be outside the ship. Now I spawned upside down. I have a couple options here. I can respawn, which I believe, let me see here, I think it's is it F5? That's a quick load. I can't really remember what the option was for respawn. Let me mess around with it real quick. Okay, so it appears I found it. It's actually just your backspace, not your delete. And then that is going to respawn you if you wish. I'm actually just going to deal with it. I know a lot of people would just respawn, but in this situation I'll actually show you how you can actually pick the ship back up if you so want to. So going back into this view here, I'm just going to go ahead and get started on talking about everything about this ship. So if you kind of go around the ship, there's a couple things here. You got your battery, you got your survival kit, and you have your O2H2 generator. The nice part about this ship that you spawn with is actually the O2 and H2 generator is attached to the survival kit, which is nice because when you try to claim, like, your say if your energy is getting low, you can go over to this little LCD and then just press and hold F and you'll start to heal and recover your O2, H2, and your energy. So that's all that. And yeah, so basically what you're going to be using the most out of this is going to be your survival kit. So if we go ahead and look at the survival kit, this is actually going to be producing us some goods here. To actually start producing goods though, we have to produce ingots here. And these are actually converted from stone that you gather. So I guess if we want to just go ahead and get that started, I'll just kind of show you a little way that I like to do it. You know, some people, they'll dig up here and they'll start collecting. If you notice, you know, it's okay, you know, you're getting some, but what I like to do is actually dig downward. Just kind of keep walking as you go, so you don't just dig a tunnel straight down and kind of waste all your fuel. So I'll just kind of keep going down until I get to a good point. And to turn your suit lights on, you just press L. So around here is kind of where the stone is. If you notice, it does change into this texture here. So this is where about the stone is. Now if I start mining this, you'll notice this is a big difference. You know, this is 254 stone versus the 34, maybe 80 that I was getting up top. So if you continuously mine down here, you're going to have higher yields, which is nice. You don't have to mine as much, because there's going to be a lot of mining in this game. And I dug this just a little bit too steep, but I got out, so that's all that matters. So going back to the survival kit, what we'll do is just drop this into the survival kit. We'll end up heading into the production tab and start printing off those precious goods that we were talking about. There's a couple ways you could do this. If you just click on it, you'll get like one or two at a time. What I like to do is you can either press Control click, that'll give you 10. If you press Shift click, it'll give you 100. So I just put as many as I can, so I can kind of keep going at it with my stone production as I go. So yeah. Another thing too that I forgot to add here is, speaking of fuel, was you have these oxygen bottle and a hydrogen bottle, and these are good for now the oxygen bottle isn't as good for Earth planets. I mean, it's mainly meant for like space or like planets with less oxygen. These are very helpful, because technically right now I can open my helmet, I can breathe this air, no problem. But in situations where you can't, it is nice to have this extra bottle with. The only downfall of this is it does have some weight. So if you're doing a lot of mining, just kind of keep that in mind. It's going to take up just a little bit of space, and it looks to be only like 30 kilograms. But I recommend always at least grabbing a hydrogen bottle. This is going to be good for, especially flying around. You're going to be doing a lot of flying, and especially if you have to get out of certain spots, you never want to run out. So I'm just gonna keep mining here. I'm gonna try to get as many little as much of supplies as I can, and then I'll get back to you guys. After you mine for so often, is you'll notice that your energy is gonna start decreasing. If you ever have that happen to where it warns you or you think you're getting low, to fix this issue, once I drop this stuff up here, you can either, one of two things, you can go into your passenger seat here and just basically relax, or the other option is actually on your survival kit. You do have that LCD, like I mentioned before, which can actually replenish your energy, O2 and H2. You just gotta press and hold F, and it'll recharge it for you. There we go, all charged. So after mining some more, I pretty much mined quite a bit. I think we're pretty much ready to start producing some supplies for ourselves. So I'm just gonna try to get rid of these goods because we're pretty much maxing out our stuff almost yet. Um, every time I transfer it over here, it just pops back up. So yeah, what we're gonna do is actually start producing some stuff. So under your production, we've made enough supplies here that we should be able to do make a decent amount of supplies. We're gonna definitely need a lot of steel plates. I'm just gonna make a couple just to show you what I'm gonna do with them real quick and what they are used for. Probably make more than that. The goal here is to make yourself just a little startup base as soon as you can, at least. So I still have some stone in here. Try to get rid of that. Okay, so I got my steel plate. Now I'm gonna pick some spot to kind of put it. Doesn't really matter too much as long as you can find whatever spot you can find. They already have preset ones, or they have preset blueprints on the bottom of the screen, and it looks like it's number 4. So this is number 4. This is going to be basically the start of your base setup. So what I like to do is just kind of build out a little bit, and then build up here. What I like to do, and what I'm trying to do here, is when I build up, I want to go about 8 blocks high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The reason I do that is the higher this is, the better efficiency that you're going to have with your windmill. The more power, the better. And honestly, I recommend building more than one. But for now, I'm just going to start with this one windmill. Now, I can't currently build this quite yet because I don't have the proper resources to build it yet. If you look to the right, it'll show you what it needs to be built. And it looks like we need to start with some interior plate. So let's go grab that. Then I did know it needed some girder. Construction comp. I forget how many motors and computers, I believe. So let that kind of keep going. Right, we almost have enough supplies here. Kind of getting to the last bits here. Okay, that should be everything for this windmill. So that's going to be number 7 here, and we're going to basically fly up to the top of this here to place it. Just take your torch, little welder. Now if you notice, there's a functional area. So technically, if I didn't have that 30 interior plate, it would still be functional, but it would only be 80% complete. So with some blocks, kind of keep that in mind because they can be what they call hacked. And if you see under functional, it says hack. So when you take this and you remove the material, that is under the hack line. So what someone can do is actually take this and hack it from you pretty much. It makes it so they now own that block. So just something to kind of look out for. Alright, the next thing we're going to want to build is going to be our refiner. So if you notice here, there's a conveyor on the front side. You can kind of flip it with your page up, page down, your home and delete and insert button. These are the buttons that kind of move stuff around. I like to keep the conveyor end where I'm going to be putting my assembler. So I'm actually going to turn it to the side here and place it down. I don't have the resources for it yet, but I'm just gonna kind of place both of these down in the correct spots. So same thing here. Here's that conveyor end. It's just the front that's facing me, and I'm gonna turn it around towards that the refiner. And what this is gonna have me, or this is gonna make me able to fill up the refiner. At the same time, it can take the stuff from the refiner and use it into the assembler. But honestly, what I should have done is, because this is where this block is going to be, or the conveyor I should say, that's where you're going to be filling it. So I could have placed it somewhere else, but for now, since this is not complete, this won't be an issue. So I'll start producing these goods, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I gathered up all these supplies here. Now I'm gonna build these up. And like I said before, this is still functional. If I want to complete the whole thing, it's gonna just be an extra 20 steel, but it is still functional. So one thing you'll notice back here, this is that conveyor I was talking about. It is back here, but I can still access it. So, just have to get close to it. If I press I here, and if I go to production, you'll notice now I have new items that I can build. So, the bulletproof glass, the detector comp, medical comp. Medical comp's a big one. Once you start getting some silver ore, you can start making cryopods and also your own medical stations as well. And those kind of act, at least like the medical station and the survival kit, they act as respawn points. So if you don't have one, and you end up dying, that's not a good situation. So one thing we can do, since we do have this base now, is we can actually tie the little survival kit over here, and we'll just we can just place it to the side. It is nice to have a H2O2 generator connected to it yet, so I think for now I'm just going to leave it alone. But yeah, I guess now is a good time we can actually start looking into trying to flip this thing over. So there is a way we can do this. It does require some materials, but to do this, we don't actually have any of those in our little bar down here. To access that, we're going to have to press G. G is going to open up the build menu, and we do have, there's certain things we can't build quite yet, especially if you are in a progression style server. What you'll notice, if I go to progression here, there's certain things that actually did get unlocked as we built some things. So for example, before with the basic assembler, now I can actually build an interior turret and these interior lights and so forth. What you can do on the ship too, it does have some things where you can actually grind down and get some blueprints for. For example, here's the landing gear. We do have quite a few landing gears on the ship. All we have to do is grind it down to non-functional and then weld it back up to where it's functional. And all these will be unlocked. And I'll just show you real quick. even has a message for you. So under progression, we'll go down, and where is it? Right here. So now all these you can build. Now I don't have certain DLC. If you have those DLC, they will appear as well. So there's a couple ways we could do the ship. I am going to show you all of them if I can. The first way I'm going to try is with the remote control. So this here is the remote control. I'm going to drag this down here. The next way is going to be the cockpit, and all you got to do is just literally throw a cockpit on it and just adjust a few things, but it's actually, it can be simpler to put a cockpit on it. So I'll throw that in there. And then you can also do little other seats too, but that's kind of the same thing as the cockpit. So the other last way you could do it is to actually just take apart the whole ship itself and try to make something else out of it. So a lot of people kind of just do it their own way of doing things. So let's go back to the ship. I'm going to actually find the gyropod here. So you can actually type this on here too. It won't be on progression. You'll actually have to go to blocks. You can actually search on the side here. It gives you a list of different types of style of blocks you can use, but I'm just going to type it in. I don't actually think we unlocked it yet, so let's look at the progression again. See if we can find this thing. Alright, my bad. I actually had to go look for that a little bit, but I did find it. We're actually going to have to start with the remote block first. So we're going to try the remote block way first. Being this is upside down, it's going to be a little bit kind of weird, but we can still make it work. So one thing with this, I'm just going to kind of remove all this so I can actually place it in there. I could have left that one block, but doesn't really matter how you place it in here. Well, yeah, let's get rid of this here. Let me rephrase that. It actually does matter. There's an up and down. What you'll want to do is face this towards, if I can remember right, I believe the arrows point up, if I'm not mistaken. I might have to double check that. Alright, I was wrong here. So you actually want to face it this way here. I have to make some interior plate quick, and then we can place that down. Then we'll just have to get the remainder of the supplies here. What is this? That's why I couldn't grab it. It's over here. Okay, so we'll go to the front of ship again, and we're going to place it here. Get some construction count. Alright. The nice part about this is technically you don't even really need a seat in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this. Actually, I'm going to save this. Scratch that idea. The nice part is you can sit in this, and I believe you can still use, you can still use remote access. So how this kind of works is you need, to go to this, you can press I or K, doesn't really matter, and on the top you'll see remote access. What you'll see if this whole thing is complete, all these will be white. The nice part is you can take control of it from here. Okay, and right now you're technically controlling it. To leave it, as it shows in the screen here, just press F. And to leave your seat, same thing, just press F. So right now it's upside down, but the nice part is, being that we actually made that, we should have actually unlocked the little gyro. Yep, there's the gyroscope. Put that there. I need steel plate for this, which I do have. And I'm going to try to put this hopefully in a decent spot. Maybe I can put it on top of this. I kind of want to try to place it upward. That's on it. Like so. This one takes a decent amount of resources to build, but you really need it if you want to tip this thing over, or even just use it for flight. These do not work well if you don't have those for flight. You can fly it, it's just really wonky and weird. In a sense, you can barely fly it. So we're going to still make some more. What else do we need? Large tube, construction comp. I'm gonna have to borrow some of this. We can actually make, we can't make large tubes with the survival kit. So we'll go back to the basic refiner and we'll throw the ore in there if we can. I don't think I'm close enough. Okay, I put it in the wrong spot. You gotta put it in the right spot. So down here is where you put the ingots, not up here. I don't know what I was thinking doing that, but it goes here. So now we can produce this large tube steel, since that's part of what you can build over here. Now you won't be able to see it, so if you notice I built it but it's not here. You'll have to open this other tab right here, and it basically shows the other connected parts to wherever it is. So whether it be a ship or anything else, it shows the other inventories. So for example, there's other ways to organize this as well. I can filter just storage inventories. There's nothing here for storage, so nothing's going to show. The ship, which technically you could call this a station, so it's its own ship. Energy resources, there's nothing here, or just show all. I'm just going to keep it on that. I'm going to grab this and let's get that back to it. First I gotta go the right way. Forget where I put the thing. Here, it's back here. So we just need steel plate, construction comp, and motor. Steel plate. Construction comp. I don't remember how many motors. Okay. Then we'll kind of get these last pieces here. Alright, so that is now built. So what we can do, since we're using the remote controller, we'll have to go to that remote controller piece. So here's the remote access. And all we have to do is press control. That's to, if you notice now that we put that gyro on, we can kind of do some tilt functions. Now it's not going to be enough, so what we're going to have to do is actually go into the control panel itself, and then you're going to want to kind of look for that little gyroscope that you built, which is right here. And if you look down here, you'll see there's something called override controls. You're going to want to click on that, and you can kind of mess with this. And if you notice, it in the background there, it kind of shakes the ship. But you can use this to actually tip it over. Just be careful. Kind of have to play with it as you go. Kind of watch your background. It is kind of hard to see. I can change the UI of this to actually see better. That is actually a good trick to do. Okay. Now I believe we flipped it over. It was kind of hard to see, but let's just take a look. And just like that, we flipped it over. So now is a good spot to where we can actually start to set up these thrusters. Now, I will say, I personally don't like flying without extra thrusters up top, because all you have here is downward thrusters. And while they can be nice and all, it only gives you the balance of going in whichever direction that you tilt, right? So everything's going to be tilt control. And I kind of like something to where it's full control, not just tilt control. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So if we get in here, I'm gonna go to control that. Okay. First things first though, we have to go to our control panel, and remember where we had defined those thrusters anyways. So if they don't show up, just click that eyeball again and they should be here. They are actually turned off from the very start, so you're gonna have to turn them on. So we'll turn these on. Oops. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna show you a function too that you should get used to. You can unlock so you have landing gear, you can unlock it with P, but I recommend not getting into the habit and trying to use less landing gears as you can, I guess you could say, or try to group landing gears together. So a good way I could do that is if I want to group them together, I'll go back into I, or even K, let's just press K. We can go down to see all the landing gears. So if I click on that and I press Control and then I hold Control and click on these other ones, I can now group them, and we can call this all landing gears, if I can spell. So that is going to be all your landing gears, and here's that group block area. The nice part about this is you can actually control groups, which is very beneficial. So from here, I'm going to escape this. And that same button that we use for going to build menu, we're going to press that, so it's G. And these are the functions that you can do with the ship. So these are all blocks, right? If we look at these, we can kind of cycle around on these. I can individually, toggle these. Like for example, if I want to lock and unlock, I can toggle that from one individual one, but since we made a group, we're gonna actually head to the left here and go to groups. And on here, this is where all the landing gears are. We're gonna put a lock and unlock, and that's gonna be able to lock and unlock all of our landing gears. So the next thing we're going to want to do is escape all this out, and we can actually change our view with V. If you press Control and scroll with your middle wheel, or not. Alt. Okay, it's Alt, not Control. Wrong button again. So you got to press and hold Alt, and you can kind of look around. You can't really control the ship as you do this. It doesn't work so well, and it gets a little sketchy. But you can kind of look around the vehicle if you want. You can see me in there. This is kind of to change how you kind of want to view, and if you want to lock that view in place, you just let go of Alt. Now that's kind of how your view is going to look like. I want to be in this view just to show you how this thing flies. So I'm going to unlock that with the function that we just made. I'm also going to press space to kind of jump out of here so it doesn't auto lock. We can disable it, but I'm just going to show you how this works as is. So right away you'll notice that this thing wanted to go to the right because we were tilted to the right. So if you notice, there's not a whole lot of control here other than your tilting. Like you could go forward, forward goes forward, backward goes backward, but it really throws you off. And then I'm about to hit a tree. So this is why I don't really like doing it this way. If you're really good at flying ships and whatnot, go for it. I want to say I don't have the best of luck doing it like this, but if this is all you have, then go for it. Otherwise, there is something else on the ship that we can actually get rid of, and I'm gonna show you that. So underneath the ship, I'm gonna go into my fly mode and tilt myself. By the way, tilt controls are Q and E. If we look down here, we can see there's this thruster down here. This is a hydrogen thruster. It has 4 metal grids, and these actually only take 1. Now the rest we can actually build just with the supplies from stone. Eventually we're going to want to venture out to get other things, but for now, just having that to get the metal grids, very beneficial, because now we can actually have our control. To build that, we'll go to our build menu again. We can type in thrusters if it's unlocked. It should be unlocked. If you notice, this is a large one. To cycle through this, I picked a large grid one, but to cycle through it, you just use your middle mouse scroll. You scroll down. And this is the small thrusters, just like those other thrusters. So I'm gonna place them kind of in a weird way, but it should still work. So that's control in all directions. That's gonna prevent us. That's gonna give us more stability. Now we just have to build these things. So there's 1 metal grid for each. Okay, now I don't have any more metal grid. Now I just have to finish these. So I'll be right back, and I'm gonna finish these real quick. Now I'll just kind of show you how this thing flies versus the other way around. So we'll just kind of launch this up. Go to the remote function again. Control. Unlock. And as you can see, I'm stable. I can tilt this. I can tilt it this way. I'm not going anywhere. And this makes it so much better to fly. So that's kind of how you get started with this ship. Like I said, there is other ways to kind of do this ship as well. I'll kind of show you that as well, just to show you how that works. So I'll get rid of this remote control, and I'm going to get rid of this seat, because with this other way you won't be needing that seat. Well, so much for that landing gear. So we're going to be placing a block in here, or a couple blocks, just so we can be able to set this down correctly. If you want as well, what we can do is back here there's these small conveyors, so I'll get rid of this as well. Just gonna make room for it. But back here there is conveyors, right? What we can do is get rid of this bottom one, and we can, oops, G menu, we can go to conveyors. There's small conveyors. Oh, so we actually have to unlock that yet too. So let me search how that works for the progression. I don't actually know that stuff on the top of my head, so let me just kind of look. Conveyors. Alright, so I did find it. It looks like we're gonna have to make some kind of small cargo container of some sort or something to that nature. So let's go ahead and just make one quick if we can. Otherwise, I believe this ship might even have one. Let me just double check here. Yep, right here. So if we delete this just enough to the point where it's non-functional, we can gain it back, and now we actually unlocked that piece that we can build. So now if we go back to the build menu, we can type in the conveyor. So there's that small cargo. The small conveyor is going to be these. Let's bring those over, and there's a whole bunch of styles that we can build. What I'm going to do is just build the actual block conveyor. This is going to make it to where it connects both back behind there and to the actual ship. And now everything's kind of plumbed in. And the reason I want to do that is because with this cockpit, if you notice, it actually has conveyor pieces on it. So with that being said, we can use this with our ice that we have in this system to keep oxygen in here. This is especially beneficial for when you're like on an alien planet or anything like that. It can keep your cockpit full of oxygen. Otherwise, a different way, if you don't want to end up using ice, so let's just get rid of this and put it back to how it was. There's another way to do that if you need oxygen. Now this only works if there's some oxygen, and that is, oops, let me go back one, and that is to build a vent. And I'll actually show you how that works after I build this cockpit here. So let me build this cockpit and I'll be right back again. Alright, here we are back to that ship. The next thing I was going to talk about is that vent. So if you go to our build menu, we can actually look up a vent, and that is another thing we got to look up in our progression. So there's always something. So let's see where that is. Again, lots of looking around. I'm sure some of you guys know this by your head, but I can't remember this. So I'm going to look for that as well. So it appears that if we actually grind down the O2H2 generator and bring it back to working condition, we should unlock the little vent here. So a lot of this stuff on the ship is very beneficial just to grind down and weld back up, and you can learn a lot of stuff. But there is sort of an order to it. So hopefully you can kind of look back through this video, and maybe that's kind of the way you should do it. So let's go back here, and the vent should be unlocked. Here's those air vents. So there is a full air vent, which is a full-size block, or there is a small air vent, which is, in this case, is what I want to use. This is not in the correct orientation, so we'll just kind of move that. But yeah, if you notice, this has a conveyor piece on it, and so does this. So I'm actually going to put this up front here. I need the resources for this, so I'm going to build this as I go here. Hope I have enough. I have been running out of resources. It's been kind of a struggle back and forth down into the mine. So computer parts I just need, and it should be functional. Okay, so that's functional. I automatically am gonna have high O2 levels anyways, but if you're on alien planet, what it's gonna say is low or none. You're gonna want, like, if it says low, that's good, because then you can at least have enough oxygen to actually keep into the cockpit. To turn that on, you can actually turn this air vent on, so it's already on, but you have to turn it into depressurize, I believe. So this is the nice part, is if you have a tank hooked up to that vent somehow on the ship, so say you put some O2 little tank behind this thing, you can depressurize from outside air and actually put that oxygen into that tank, right? So that's what this one does. That's what depressurize does. Otherwise, it would be off, is to actually put air into the room. No, that's vice versa. I can't remember. Just kind of experiment with that. It's either on or off for those. I honestly can't remember which one it was, but you can also use this to actually pressurize rooms. This is not necessarily a room, so it's not going to have pressure, but if you do it right, it'll actually show that it is pressurized. And it's actually pretty cool to see, because you'll open a door and you'll see a bunch of air kind of rush out. So, but that's that. So that's with the cockpit. One thing to note too, this is the respawn ship. So a lot of you are gonna have issues with it despawning into certain areas. So what I like to do here is actually build, and this is gonna prevent it from despawning. So, and you only got to do this once. You can actually delete it after. Oh, one other thing I noticed too, my H2 levels are getting low. To refill that, we'll go here. All you got to do is just put this hydrogen bottle back into the generator, and it should auto-fill it. If it doesn't, then you can go into the control panel, find the O2 H2 generator. If you just click on it, it should automatically bring you there, and then you can actually go to the bottom and select this auto refill button if it's deselected. So if it'll be grayed out if it's not selected. So once that's selected, it should refill your bottles. So little tip there. Anyways, back to this. What was I talking about? Yeah, storing your ship. These things will be deleted. So a way around this is to try to connect it to your static grid. Now, one of those connectors. So I'll show you what a connector kind of looks like. So here's a connector. This is the connector, and we can actually build one. The problem is, this takes a lot of resources, right? And this is not going to save the ship. It still thinks it's the respawn ship. So that way is not going to work. The way that will work is if you press, if you go into your build menu and you look for this thing called a merge block. Now, what you can do, and this is since you're able to fly it pretty well, is you can actually put this on here once I get some steel. Okay. Put this on here. Need some mortar, some steel tubes. So that it's functional. I like to go inside the ship again, go into the inventory layout. So K, this is going to be all your ship details. So what I like to do is find that, what I just built. So the merge block here, I'm going to call that, at the end of it, just call it ship. The reason I do this is because you're going to want to build another merge block, and to disconnect them, you're you know, you're gonna have to turn one of them off. Otherwise, you can just simply destroy it. But the way I kind of do this is I'm gonna build another one onto this, and then connect a landing gear on it, and I'm gonna basically, in a sense, park the ship on the side here, and that's going to connect it to the station. I'm going to disconnect myself from that area and try to connect myself back into it, and what's going to happen is it's going to turn my ship into basically a static grid, because what the merge block does is it welds things together. So anything close in the vicinity, it'll basically weld those things together, making it one whole unit. So basically you could say your ship is now the station. But I'm going to finish that up so I can kind of show you. I am out of goods. I think I do have some stuff. I put it behind here. Of course I did. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, back from my little mining hole. So, what I'm going to do is, if you notice this thing has little teeth on it, you're going to want to put this on there and turn it to where those teeth actually basically touch each other. So, build that there. I need some more construction comp. I'm just gonna, okay, I should have enough. Hopefully. It's always a concern, is always having enough. Okay, if you notice these are green now, so these are actually connected as one. So I'm now going to put that landing gear on here. Okay, and I need steel. I know I had some steel over here. I'm going to place that on here. Oh boy, I'm just going to delete this guy here. Alright, so now this is set up. Okay, so we're going to fly basically into our station. If you want, I kind of recommend just beefing this up before you do so. If you don't, I also just recommend just going like a block or two out so it doesn't completely destroy what you just made, just in case. So yeah, I'm going to show you how this works. So just kind of go over to this little area here. Right. Move it down. And back it up. And this should auto lock it. So if you notice now it is locked. Now what we have to do is actually shut that merge block off. So we go to that same build menu that we were at before. We press G. And now we just have to find that merge block. So this is that one we labeled. This is the ship one. We can toggle that on and off. Press escape. And then now I'll turn it off. You notice now I can disconnect. I'm going to disconnect it, but now I'm going to reconnect it, and I'm going to back it back into it. And there we go. Now it basically thinks that I am part of the whole station here. So technically, after you do this, this ship will no longer disappear. So not too bad to do. And after this, technically, when you disconnect, you can actually destroy that stuff now, as you shouldn't need it anymore. But when in doubt, you can just put a merge block on your ship, and before you leave, just connect it that same way, and it should not respawn, or it should respawn. It should not despawn. So there's that. And then the last thing you can do, and this is going to be all your creativity. This is all, I'm going to leave this up to you guys. Basically, you can just like cut this up. The nice part is if you cut this all down, you'll get all those resources to use for a different style ship, which can actually, it can be beneficial, but this is kind of a good setup. It's got your O2H2, your survival kit, and everything you need. So it's a good starter ship. So if you do need to recharge this thing, because this thing will die eventually, you will have to build a connector. So not too hard to do. I can whip that up real quick, show you how that works as well, and then that should be it for this. Also, I noticed that got hit by lightning, so that's another thing I gotta fix. So I'll take care of both of those, and I'll be right back. I am back from that grind. That was a lot of resources. This takes a lot, just on the large grid side. Takes 130 steel, so that took me forever. I was just doing stone. The best way to do that is actually to find an iron spot, which I'll show you right after I show you how to actually connect these two. So in your ship, you'll go to this menu again. You'll find that connector, and you can actually go to toggle lock, and then toggle unlock. Okay, and so if I fly this thing, and then I back this up to it, this thing should pull it in once it gets close enough, just like that. Then to lock it, 2 is my lock, 3 is my unlock. I want to lock it, so I'm going to press 2, and now it should actually stay there and actually charge. So if I look at my control panel here, I'll cycle to my battery. If you'll notice, now it's going to say it will be fully charged in 37 minutes. So this is a good way to kind of charge it up, especially if you're on a server that is like a keen server or something, and you're going to be away for a while. This will make sure that it gets charged up. By the time you come back, you know, it'll probably be charged. Otherwise, another way you could do this is if you have batteries at your station and multiple other things, this is just going to consume a small amount compared to, like, with, it's basically going to pair up all the batteries together. What you can do is actually set this to recharge. And what that's going to do, since this doesn't have any other batteries here, it's not going to suck any of those down because there's none here. But if it did, it would actually drain those batteries to actually fuel this ship full of energy. So just kind of a tip there, but make sure to put it back onto auto. Otherwise, this thing is not going to do anything. You won't fly. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you want to find ores, there's a couple ways to do it. You can fly around and you'll basically try to look for these dark spots. I personally have a hard time with this because I'm colorblind and some of those colors don't work well with me. So this is the way I do it. And on this thing, you already have an ore detector. So we'll kind of look for that. If the range is at 25, which usually is what it is at when you build it, set it off to 30. And also make sure that this is selected. And it appears it is. So what you can do is just make sure that you can broadcast it. So I'm just gonna up this just a little bit. Let's do 500 meters. Okay. And broadcasting is on. You don't have to worry about any of this antenna stuff, like, you don't have to rename it, any of that. Now, I'm going to disconnect the ship, so I'm going to unlock this connector, which now we're flying. And I'm just going to fly around kind of close to the ground. And this is going to basically, when it does find ore, it should appear. Another thing too to save fuel, this kind of a little trick I learned too, is if you go into your production, not your production, your control panel, go find your backward thruster, and rename it. I'm just going to put B so I know that's the backward, and then F, you can just put F for forward. I like to go back into here and find where that's B, toggle on and off, and F, we can actually increase and decrease that speed. Reason I do this is because if I get rid of this and I tilt it forward, I'm going forward, right? And I'm not even using like extra power to do so. The other way too, say I'm going up here, right? I can actually like increase speed with this back thruster here and decrease it however I basically want until it's disabled, and then it goes into an auto mode. So I'm just going to disable that front one, that way I don't use as much energy. We're just kind of gonna look around here, see if we can find anything that just kind of pops up. Also, sometimes they don't appear because the HUD isn't enabled, so you might have to press H until everything's enabled to actually be able to see things. And while I'm at it, we can just go to this station. I can show you that station. You should have enough energy to get there. And there's actually, here's a couple things. Actually, this is very beneficial. So down here, some of these stuff are starting to appear. Oops. Let's turn this back on. Okay. Now, it doesn't appear from the top, which honestly, that's pretty normal. It is nice when they do appear from the top. It's so much easier to mine. But in this case, we found cobalt. Cobalt is it's kind of hard to find, but you can be able to find it here. But it actually looks like we found some just nearby. What we're going to do is just kind of dig down, just to kind of show you that it is down there. One thing to note too, your drill has its own little detector on it. It's very short range, but it should still find some things here in the area. I'll just go down here, show you that there is indeed cobalt down here. There we are. So cobalt is this blue color stuff, if I'm seeing that right. And yeah, so we can mine this. Bring this back. Now it's going to collect some stone too. I try not to collect it, especially if this is the raw resource. It's nice just to bring home just the cobalt. So that's that. And the same thing kind of goes with the other zones around here too. So like nickel's nearby, I'll have to dig for that. irons nearby, you can dig for that. What's nice is you can set up little mining zones if you really want, and put like a drill and then just drill all the way down, and then just you can use those spots to kind of take advantage of those areas. So I'm just going to kind of shove this back here. Okay. And I'm just going to show you guys what this this place over here looks like. Just so you guys have an idea of what to expect when you see the station for the first time. Some stations can be hostile. A lot of times they're going to be red. But in this case, the station actually appears to be friendly. I guess we'll find out, but for the most part, your starter one you get usually is friendly. So now I'm just adjusting my speed. I can turn that front guy off. I'll just cruise a lot. Just if you press Alt, you can actually run in the back too. You can see your controls down here as well. Pretty good stuff here, but you can change this display too. Pretty neat. There's definitely a lot of stuff you can do in this game. So, and responsibilities. And it actually appears that there is a salvage facility to our left. That is hostile. So if you do go there, prepare to get shot at, because it's hostile. Those are the fun ones though, to try to take over. That's the other fun of the game. So here's the station that we're approaching. So you just follow the station. Try to slow down here. We only have one rest on sound, so let's keep it. This bubble around us, we're actually in a safe zone. So what that does is it actually prevents any damage that you can do to the station, or even yourself too. You can't damage like other people's things or anything like that when they're in the station. Okay, apparently this is not parking. Let me check something here. They're functional. I don't know why it's not. I think you have to be in the connector. So I'm just gonna land this on the ground. Or not. That's kind of weird. Okay, in this situation, I'm just gonna shut it off. So, here's the station. This is the fun part. I love going to stations because they can actually give you little jobs to do. Around here, they got a little store for you. You can kind of look in it. There's like a bunch of stuff you can get. In this case, this one actually sells ships, so that's pretty cool. So you can buy yourself a ship, buy yourself some tools. Every station is different, so that's cool. I haven't come across one of those where you could buy ships like that. It's pretty neat. I haven't gotten into the game too far, so I'm actually kind of learning things as I go as well. So this is kind of neat. But here's a contracts board. There's a bunch of contracts you can get. That's a lot of money for this. But yeah, it's platinum. Makes sense. But you get all these kind of contracts. You can do bounties. You can do escorts. Anything on here. If it's available, like no one's here to do a bounty with, but like if it's available, you can do it, and you just get you get a little reward for doing it. So that's kind of the cool part of this game, is like it kind of gives you that freedom just to kind of do whatever you want. Again, that is a enemy area, so that's another thing you can do is you can attack zones, and you can kind of I believe you can get resources for it. I haven't actually done it myself. There's a lot of things I want to try to do yet, so but yeah, I think this is actually where I'm going to call it. I hope you guys learned a thing or two from this, and if you guys have any other questions, leave them in the comments, and maybe I can help you out and answer them the best I can. So yes, thanks for watching. Subscribe and follow. But yeah, that's it.